Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the powerful chemicals that are secretly running the show, shaping your mood, your motivation, and pretty much your every move. So, what is behind that curtain? Well, the answer isn't some simple on-off switch. It's way more complex, more like a symphony conducted by the brain's master regulators. So let's meet the conductors. Okay, let's dive right in. To really get our heads around dopamine and serotonin, we've got to zoom out a bit first. So forget thinking about a single light switch just flipping on or off. Instead, I want you to picture the dimmer switch for an entire house, the one that sets the mood in every single room. These chemicals are called neuromodulators, and they don't just fire off a single quick message from one neuron to the next. Nope. They're more like the stage managers of the brain. They set the entire tone for a whole region, influencing how all the other messages get heard. And this is where it gets really interesting, when you see the difference in scale. Traditional neurotransmission, that's kind of like sending a quick targeted text message to one friend. But neuromodulation, that's like a citywide broadcast announcement that stays on the air for a good long while. It's all about that widespread, lasting influence. And the scale of that influence is just mind-boggling. We're talking about a single release affecting a network of over 100,000 neurons at once. That's how your brain pulls off these huge, coordinated shifts, like going from deep sleep to being wide awake and ready to go. Okay, so now that we've got that foundation, let's zoom back in on two of the most famous neuromodulators out there, the real superstars of the brain, dopamine and serotonin. So, first up, dopamine. You've probably heard it called the motivation molecule, and honestly, that's a pretty great nickname. It's the engine that's literally driving us toward our goals and making those rewards feel, oh, so good. And as you can see, dopamine really does wear a lot of hats. It's absolutely crucial for coordinating our movements, it's what fuels our motivation by giving us those feelings of pleasure, and it's essential for teaching our brain which behaviors are actually worth repeating. Okay, so let's start with movement. This whole function kicks off in a pathway that begins in this tiny little area of the midbrain called the substantia nigra. You can think of it as the mission control for all your smooth, coordinated motions. And this is where things can go terribly wrong. What happens when that mission control gets damaged? Well, when those dopamine-producing neurons start to die off, the messages from movement get all slow and jumbled. And the result is devastating. Parkinson's disease, with its classic, terrible symptoms of muscle stiffness, tremors, and just a real difficulty in getting your body to move. All right, let's shift gears to what dopamine is really famous for, its starring role in the brain's reward system. You know that feeling when you eat your favorite food or finally nail a big project? Yep, that's dopamine. And the system is actually, beautifully simple. It's designed for our survival. A rewarding behavior triggers a rush of dopamine. You feel pleasure, and your brain makes a note, hey, that was good, let's do that again. But here's the catch. This exact system, the one designed to keep us alive, is also the one that's completely hijacked by addiction. And this study just powerfully demonstrates that whole pathway in action. Look at this. When people with a gambling addiction were given a drug that blocks some of that dopamine effect, the results were just striking. By turning down the volume on that high, the urge to gamble just plummeted. Gambling episodes dropped by over 75%, and the money lost? It fell dramatically. It's such a stark example of just how much control dopamine has over what we do. Okay, so now let's turn to our second superstar, serotonin. If dopamine is that engine pushing us forward, think of serotonin as the great stabilizer of our emotional world. It's the conductor that brings a sense of calm and just general well-being. Yeah, serotonin's whole job is about regulation. And here's a key difference. Unlike dopamine, which can get you all excited, serotonin is purely inhibitory. It acts like the brain's brakes, helping to put a check on excessive activity and keeping our moods from swinging all over the place. And with serotonin, the crucial point, the thing you have to remember, is balance. It's not about having more and more of it. It's about having just the right amount, because an imbalance in either direction can cause some really serious problems. So, when levels get too low, it's like the brain's emotional brakes just aren't working right. And this is what's famously linked to conditions like depression and anxiety, where negative thoughts and feelings can just spiral out of control. This is exactly why so many antidepressants, the SSRIs, work by trying to make more serotonin available in the brain. But, and this is a big but, on the flip side, too much serotonin is also incredibly dangerous. It can cause this toxic condition called serotonin syndrome. We're talking a full-on medical emergency with symptoms like agitation, high fever, confusion. It can even be fatal if it's not treated. So again, balance is everything. Serotonin also has this kind of surprising night job. It helps you sleep. Your brain literally uses serotonin as the raw material to create melatonin, the hormone that basically tells your body, hey, it's time to shut down for the night. And that connection, it perfectly explains why insomnia is such a common, frustrating symptom of depression. So, when you put it all together, you realize you can't think about these chemicals as solo acts. It's not as simple as dopamine being the go pedal and serotonin being the stop pedal. They are partners in this incredibly complex, interactive system. In reality, what's happening is they're constantly engaged in this delicate chemical ballet. They interact with each other, they influence each other, and they can even counterbalance each other's effects, all to maintain the brain's overall stability. It's all about keeping things in balance. And this quote really just captures it perfectly, doesn't it? Understanding neuromodulators like dopamine and serotonin really helps us appreciate that the brain isn't just a collection of parts. It's this incredibly dynamic communication network that regulates pretty much everything we think, feel, and do. And that brings us to a final thought I want to leave you with. If so much of how we feel and what we do is shaped by this invisible subconscious chemical ballet, what does it really mean to be in control of our own minds?